You, Dr. Hammond, for coming onto the podcast today and speaking with us about your organization at the Cade Foundation. And can we start with you guys' journey to parenthood? I know that you and your husband have a very unique journey.
Yeah, so my husband and I met first week of medical school. He was my knight in shining armor. And after what I would consider a fairy tale courtship, we got married after 3 years. And I knew that I had endometriosis, which is a condition that can make it hard for some women to get pregnant because the tissue that grows on the inside of the womb that is shed every month when a woman has her period was growing in other places. It's growing in the wrong places. So we started trying to get pregnant immediately. And after a year, we started seeing a fertility doctor. And after another 5 years, basically we had not gotten pregnant. And we had had 6 rounds of IVF that had gone through to transfer and just had not been successful. And the doctor said, you guys don't have any more money. Yeah, you don't have any insurance. And there's no reason to believe that if you keep doing this thing, you're going to have any different results. And so we were brokenhearted and shared with my parents. And my mom and dad asked if my mom could carry a baby for me because they had seen it on 60 Minutes or some TV show years prior.
Yeah.
And my husband and I are both doctors. So we knew a little bit, but we were young doctors and we had never heard of a 50-some-year-old mother carrying a baby for her daughter. So we just politely thanked them and moved on. But my parents were persistent and they said, hey, we need to talk about this. Let's pray about it. Let's talk about it. And so after a lot of conversation, a lot of prayer, we decided to move forward just to see if my mom was healthy enough to do it. And her doctor said they didn't think it would kill her, but they really couldn't kind of give much more support other than that. But in faith, we moved forward, and my mom was able to do at 55 what I was unable to do at 30. She conceived triplets, and my triplets are now going on 16 years old. So.
Wow. That's incredible. That's like the epitome of unconditional love. And, a lot of times it can only come from a mother or a father in that way. That's incredible. That's truly incredible. So that was the driving force at some point for you and your husband to open up the organization.
Yeah, so we have been so blessed because we had information. We were both physicians, so we had a lot of good information about what infertility is, what it isn't, what causes it, the treatments available. We had financial support. We had insurance that helped us pay for some of the treatment. And then when we ran out of money and insurance, we had relatives who actually just lent us money. We got money from my grandmother, my parents, my in-laws. Like we had a lot of people who really just pitched in to support us. And we still struggled. We still struggled to the point where it almost broke us as a couple, as me as a human. It kind of brought me down to my lowest point. So if we struggled and we had all of that, there are so many that didn't have any of that. They didn't have insurance. They didn't have people that they could talk to, even though we didn't have a lot of friends we could talk to. We had my parents, we had Jason's parents, we had family. So we thought, let's just start this nonprofit and let's raise $10,000, give it back to one couple, and then we'll go on about our lives. He'll continue being an orthopedic surgeon. I'll continue working in preventive medicine. And that kind of desire to raise it and then leave it has evolved to the point where we have supported over 127 families with up to $10,000 each. We've given out well over $1 million in grants for fertility treatment and adoption throughout the country. And we are able to provide ongoing support to patients through social media, education programs, and then fun things like fertility book club, which is a thing, where we actually just find a book and we read it and we talk about it. And you'd be surprised how many from really throughout the world tune in to Fertility Book Club because they're not able to talk about this in such transparent ways in other settings. So we do all of that really to just pour back into and support the community of overcomers, because we feel like no matter where you are on the journey, if you haven't given up, you're still overcoming. Because just continuing, I think, is an act of resistance some days. Continuing through tears, just not giving up is an act of resistance, and I support it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so what was it like building the organization with your husband, and what was your parents' reaction? I know they were probably super proud and just supporting you guys any way they could still.
It was hard because I had no background in nonprofits. I was a physician. And my husband he still practices. He's an orthopedic surgeon in the DMV. And so I had to learn everything kind of by doing it. And because we didn't have any extra money, I mean, even like filing to be a nonprofit, I did all of that myself. And at the time I was still working full time in a more clinical role. And so I made so many mistakes. I still make a lot of mistakes, but I felt like everything I did was wrong. But thank God, God didn't close the door. He just kept on encouraging me. No, that was wrong, but
we can fix
it. Come on, you'll be okay. Keep moving. And every time I was at the point where I thought, I'm just going to give up, I'm just going to go back to what I know, what I'm familiar with, something would happen out of the blue to really just remind me, no, you're where you're supposed to be. Keep moving.
Yeah. What point in the organization's existence did you stop practicing clinically as a physician?
About 3 years in.
About 3 years in.
About 3 years in, I just decided that I was going to really dedicate my time to Cade because I felt like I was the limiting factor. We weren't growing. We weren't reaching to do as much of the work that we intended to because I was working Cade as a part-time job because I had a full-time real job. I had 3 babies who needed me and who I had prayed for and waited on and done all this to have. I had a husband, I had all of these other important pieces that were, that I really was focusing my time and attention on. But I've always believed if I'm going to do something, I need to do it well, do things in excellence. Yeah. So I needed to decide if I wanted to continue playing with Cade or dedicate some time to it to see if it could grow and become a real resource, which I'm really pleased to say that because I've had great people come alongside me that made similar choices. I think it has grown into what our vision was, our vision of the potential was. I'm really happy about that, but there's still so much more that we could do. So, and coming on shows like yours, we're able to talk about that work.
Yeah. That's amazing. Nonprofit has always been something that I've always been interested in, and I find the process fascinating and just the uniqueness of every organization and how they bring something different to the table, even in the same niche. So when you started working, I know it had to been scary coming out of the clinical setting and having had dedicated, most of your adult life to being a physician. I know it had to be pretty scary, and you were like, God, am I doing this right? Like, you know what I mean? And just praying and manifesting the people to come along to put on your board, and how did it work with your board members? Was it teeth and nails, or did it kind of like start to begin to flow once you began to dedicate more time to the organization's building it?
I think me coming on board full time and treating it like a real job instead of like a part-time hobby made a huge difference. Initially, my board was mostly family and close friends, some of whom are still on the board. They've been great members, very strong supporters. They've done the work. Some of whom are no longer connected. I think when you start a nonprofit, the important part is to start, and you'll refine your programs, you'll refine how you do things, your processes. You'll kind of fix whatever is not perfect, but sometimes I think people wait so long until they have everything perfect to the point where, first of all, nothing is ever going to be perfect.
Right.
But opportunities may have kind of moved on because they were scared. So it's a different organization than when it first started. But I think that the essential work that we always planned to do and we hoped to be able to do, we're still doing that work, which makes me really, really happy and proud.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the kinds of events that you guys normally do before COVID, of course. And so what do you guys focus on a lot when you do have meetings in person with the community and connecting with, overcomers and sufferers of fertility and infertility issues?
So I'm really pleased to share that we are doing all of the work that we did before COVID still. It's just that work has gone from in person to virtual. So now we do it online, and in some ways that's even better because there are people who were afraid to attend events because they didn't want to be, outed as having infertility by showing up to an infertility event. Well, you can hide behind your computer screen. Nobody knows who you are on the computer. Nobody can see your face if you lock the camera. So we do a lot of types of programs to support families. We do fun activities. We have, for instance, coming up in September, a Pathways to Parenthood event at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden, which is a large church in the D.C., Maryland.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Not too far from me, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we've done that every year for the past, I want to say, 8 or 9 years. We're going to have a fertility doctor, an adoption expert, mental health provider, a complementary health person, an expert who deals with diet and nutrition and acupuncture. And I might have forgotten someone, a urologist who deals with male reproductive health. So we'll have them on to talk about the Pathways to Parenthood, and the leader of the Abraham's Promise Ministry, Reverend Skip and Beverly Little, will talk about how to reconcile your faith with infertility. Because some people feel like, well, I'm doing all the right things. God, why are you mad at me? Why are you punishing me? And so we'll be doing that. That's just an example. We have the same type of activity at one of the largest churches in the Houston metro area. We also do multidisciplinary grand rounds for healthcare providers. Why? Because if you're a general OBGYN, your focus is not infertility. Your focus really in large part is dealing with healthy women and, helping people who don't want to get pregnant. And so we want to make sure that our generalists are aware about infertility and that they know about local community resources so that they can provide appropriate guidance to women who come in and are struggling with infertility. We also have Fertility Book Club. I mentioned that, which is a really fun activity. We pick a book, the group picks a book every month, we read it, and then we talk about it. We have, patients, we've got fertility doctors, we have people who are just interested in the book. We have all types of people who join in. And then every other Monday on our social media networks, at least Facebook and Instagram, we have a program called Coffee with Cade, where we talk about a fertility and an adoption related topic. I believe our last last week it was birth parent perspectives. So we had a man who had, he and his girlfriend conceived a baby when he was in high school, and they placed the child up for adoption. He has reconciled with the child, but often when people adopt, their question is how am I gonna deal with this birth parent? Is the kid gonna love me? Are they gonna decide they don't want me? Are they gonna reject me? Will the birth parent want to come take my baby away from me? So I think it was good hearing his side, and he's now married with 2 daughters that he and his wife are raising. And so the session before that was domestic versus international fertility treatment. Some people are looking at the cost of fertility treatment and deciding that they want to get care, in the Caribbean, where it may be a lot cheaper, or South America. And so we had someone who was able to talk about that experience. I think our next episode is going to be on the value donor gametes.
Okay.
Looking at donor gametes. So many people at this point many women are delaying childbearing for professional reasons, or maybe they're just not married, or they may just not want to have children when they're at their reproductive kind of prime.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer you wait as a woman, the less likely you're going to have good, strong, healthy eggs.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we're born with all the eggs we're ever going to have. Yeah. Men make fresh sperm every single day until they're probably 100. Yeah. But women, you have whatever you're going to have the day that you're born.
Yeah.
And so just like if you left eggs in the refrigerator for, let's say, 5 years, those eggs would not be great quality. They just might not be good for eating. Same thing happens to our eggs in our body. And so many women are using donor eggs to help conceive a baby. And there are other groups that use donor eggs and donor sperm. Sometimes men's sperm quality is poor, so they would use a donor. People who are single and want to have babies, obviously you only have one set of gametes, and you need two sets of gametes to conceive, and also those who are in same-sex relationships. So our next topic is going to be on donor eggs and donor sperm, everything you may want to know about who has it, who gets it, why do they get it, what are some of the unique challenges, what are some of the benefits, costs, all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
So we do that every other Monday. On the fun side of things, we have a couple of activities that I think are great. I mean, infertility is stressful. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that when you were going through it, it's like a burden, and you walk around and you feel like you can't tell people because you don't want to feel judged. But sometimes you just want to relax in a safe space. So we have these activities. We always give away fertility stuff. Mm-hmm. So, it's supportive of the fertility community. We've got the Maryland Corks with Cade, which is actually virtual. It's a sip and paint event on August the 29th, and we ship you out all the painting supplies, and we have a celebrity artist, and he's going to kind of guide us through some fun artwork, and you get to keep your own artwork. And then also we're going to have some wine games and wine challenges, and we'll be giving away some big prizes to people who win. They're not drinking games. It's like virtual game night type games. So that's on August 29th. We also have a Sip and Chef event on September the 12th. That's usually in California, but this year it's virtual. And we will be shipping out the wine, and for some tickets we'll ship out the groceries. And everybody gets a chef, an apron, and we'll be cooking with a celebrity chef, preparing the perfect wine pairings. And then we'll have the sommelier at both events that will walk us through the experience of tasting the wine. We have our Race for the Family, which usually is in Baltimore metro area. And that is going to be wherever you are. Again, it's virtual. So some people, we had part 1 in June and part 2 is in October 10th, raceforthefamily.com. And you walk a 5K, you jog it, you can bike it, you can pogo stick it. You just move 3.2 miles. And we're shipping out the shirts and the race medals. For the Maryland Corks event and for the Race for the Family, we're giving away $10,000 in treatment at Shady Grove Fertility. The raffle, the people who register for both are entered into the same raffle.
Gotcha.
And that'll be drawn at the race on October the 10th. The people who participate in the Sip and Chef event, which is the California Corks with Cade, are entered into win a free cycle of donor eggs from Donor Egg Bank USA. Wow. So those are some pretty big gifts.
Yeah, huge.
The free cycle is worth $10,000, and the free cycle of IVF is worth about $10,000. The free cycle of donor eggs is worth about $15,000. And then we have our gala, which is November the 14th.
Okay.
And that's usually our celebration of and for families overcoming infertility, where the whole event is to honor the journey and the victory that we know will come if you don't give up. This year, we had a fabulous event planned, Ledine Bleu, LEDINERBLEU.com. And we have just converted that to an online event. So your dinner will be delivered. Wow. We're using local restaurants from throughout the country. Okay. So we'll be supporting local businesses, but everyone will get a knock at their door at around between 5 and 6 p.m. So we'll be delivering 500 meals. We'll have your wine shipped to you. We'll have live DJ. Everyone is still expected to come look in there.
A1,
bring in their sparkle and shine. Yes. Okay. We want you to feel like you've had an experience. We will be shipping out centerpieces and are going to ask everyone to prepare a space in their home where they can feel like they had an experience, but we'll all be connected because we'll have the same centerpieces. And we'll have a comedian, a live comedian that is well known. And I'm excited about that.
That's going to be super fun.
Yeah. DJ for dancing. You know, if you want to cut the rug a little bit afterwards, you can ask for your favorite song. But we just want to give families a reason to remember and to just pause and smile.
Yeah.
Smile and celebrate.
Yeah.
So those are some things that we have coming up for the rest of the year. And I hope that you'll join us for at least a few of those.
Yes, I definitely was, because yesterday I was looking, someone from your organization has sent me the flyer for the 5K walk and run. So I definitely wanted to sign up for that. I do a lot of walking in my neighborhood, so it's like perfect. And then I didn't know about the gala though, and all the other things that you guys did. I should have looked more deeply into the website to find out, but I did get the flyer for the 5K run, so I'll definitely sign up for that. This is like amazing. I didn't know that you guys did that much. I didn't know. That's what I get for not reading the freaking website in its entirety.
No. You know what? It's okay. But, you know, our goal is really to just connect folks to the community, to remind people that they're not alone. So I've talked about kind of our work kind of facing outward. This is what we do for the public. Yeah. I haven't talked about what we do for our families. So when we do have this grant that would provide up to $10,000 for fertility treatment or adoption, and we give out between 5 and 10 grants a year. We don't give out money that we don't have, but we give out most of what we have. And so when our families come into the Cade community, when they receive a grant, they get paired up with another family that's either geographically not far from them or who's dealing with whatever their same cause of infertility is. They have a board trustee who is assigned to them to check in on them and to provide ongoing support and care. our families, they really do form a very strong family bond, to the point where they travel with one another. Our Race for the Family event, we usually have a family reunion where we have many families that are within the Cade organization come back, and they bring their children, and 5, 6, 7. We do birthday parties at the family reunion. I mean, we call the babies Cade cousins.
Yeah.
I'm not Dr. Cade. I'm Auntie Camille.
Mm-hmm.
So we really do try and stay connected and really support one another as we're going through. As you know, with this experience, it doesn't always work.
No,
everybody doesn't get pregnant.
Yeah.
And our commitment is to be with you through the duration. So some of our families never got pregnant, and some of them moved on to different other pathways to parenthood.
Yeah.
And we love on those babies that came, however, the same way we would love on them if they had been conceived using the Cade money. They're all part of the family, just like a real family, right?
Yeah,
However
absolutely.
you still family.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that in this niche of medical issue, because infertility is a disease, this, you're a doctor, I don't have to tell you, but for those who are listening that may not know, infertility is classified as a disease.
It sure is.
And that's why so many states are fighting hard to have it regulated for insurance companies to cover the cost of it when there's a medical diagnosis, such as azoospermia, when there's no sperm, available in the man's ejaculate. And then for women like myself with hormonal conditions and uterine polyps and unexplained infertility, that's a really big one when women don't have any physical issue with their body, and their husband doesn't either, but they're not getting pregnant,
That's right.
So I think it's really important for us to connect. And I tell you guys all the time to connect with organizations and community memberships like Dr. Camille's organization, because you have all the resources and tools right at your very feet. And it's just important to also connect with other warriors or sufferers or overcomers in this space, so that we can, like Dr. Camille said, be a family and ride this wave together, however long it takes, and just stay connected. Right. And then that's what I really love about the fertility space, is because even after you're on the other side, as some people would say, you still can be a part and to help someone else after you, and
you're needed. We need you more than ever, because what you represent is a hope. Like, if I can see that it worked for you, then I can believe maybe it'll work for me, because your case was just as bad as mine. Maybe your case was worse. Yeah. And I see you standing there, a parent. So sometimes that's the whisper of hope that you need to just not give up. Because what I found is, just because you give up on a thing doesn't mean you stop thinking about it. Yeah. You just feel bad because you gave up and you still don't have it. Why not just keep moving and pushing and fighting and believing until you can get that thing?
Yeah, this is amazing, Dr. Camille. I appreciate you so much for coming on and letting us into the world of the Cade Foundation. And I'm loving the events you have coming up, especially during COVID and people dealing with depression and not being able to get connected to family, and then not being able to get connected to fertility sisters and brothers, and having meetups anymore. People are doing things in small numbers, like taking walks together if they live in the same city. I've seen on Instagram, but doing these events and, like you said, celebrating the journey, no matter how difficult it is, and then just getting connected. So this is awesome, and I hope that you guys will attend some of the events that the Cade Foundation has organized and have coming up, and find your tribe. Tribe at the Cade Foundation, okay?
We're here. And you know what, Monique? I'll just say this right now. Are you a reader? Do you like to read?
Oh, I love it. Always have been. Absolutely.
Well, then I invite you to join us for this next Fertility Book Club, which will be in September. I'll send you the flyer if you don't mind sharing about it. It's free. Yeah. All you have to do is get the book or download the book, or you can even listen to it as you're taking a bath or whatever. and come prepared to engage.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
when
absolutely.
I tell you there were women from Sierra Leone, Nigeria, of course, California, New York, like every place. At our last book club, we read Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, which is an amazing book, period. But because it does have a strong fertility theme, it was even more powerful, in that setting. But it's just, if you like to read and you like to talk about books, especially with interesting people, this is a great thing.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to get plugged in. I'm definitely going to take my own advice and get connected and plugged in with the book club. I don't always get to sit down and read, but I do a lot of listening, audio listening. Yeah, and that's why I started the podcast, because I was like, hey, I can do this too, listening to other podcasts all the time. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do that, and I'm definitely going to try to do the 5K. I might have to take the baby with me. He might be fussing if I go out there by myself.
We have onesies for little. We have t-shirts for the little ones, and we have onesies for the little ones. So we take care of all of we celebrate our little rainbow babies.
Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in to Infertility and Me. Dr. Cade, can you give us the handles in which we connect with you online and on social media for everybody to follow?
Absolutely. At Cade Foundation. So at CAD as in David E Foundation. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want more information about our grant, or you want to sign up for one of our events, you can find us on cadefoundation.org. That's at CADEFOUNDATION.org. And grants are reviewed twice a year. Our applications are online right now. So you could go online right now, download an application, complete an application, and they're reviewed starting February 1st and July 1st of every year. So you've got plenty of time to put together an application if that's something that you think may benefit you and your family.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And you guys know that I will have it in the show notes so that you may tap and go and connect with Dr. Camille's organization on social media, as well as their website for all of their grant information, all their events and things like that. So thank you, friends, for tuning in to Infertility and Me. Peace and blessings.